More entitled people on TikTok. Let's get to it. And real quick before we start, Theo Coop is not the type of dude who talks about people's looks for a multitude of reasons. One, I'm almost 40, a low brow, a little immature for someone my age. And I said all that to say this. I hope I'm a man of my word and not say anything about this lady. Let's keep it moving.
If he wanted to, he would. Hear me out.
No.
I went on a date with a guy last week, and it was a good date. We had a fun time together. He's a big-time lawyer. He owns 3 to 4 cars. He's doing really well in life.
That's good.
You guys know I'm a model. I'm new to...
What? Hold up. The hell she just say? Let me go back. I'm bugging. I thought she said she was a model.
He's doing really well in life. You guys know I'm a model. I'm new to this.
What the fuck does she model? Goddamn mustache cream? What? She models. Mustache Model. That's the name of the video.
City, transplant, don't even have a car yet.
And I'm sorry to keep stopping. One, my mind's still blown about her saying she was a model. We're going to leave that there. But she just said something I want to speak on real quick. I've said this before in other videos. I'm going to keep saying it. I think as an adult, if you're serious about dating anyone, you should have these 3 things before you start dating someone. You should have a place to stay, a car, and a job. Some type of way you have legal income. You don't have to have a mansion. You don't have to be a millionaire. You don't have to drive a Bentley. But you should have a car, a place to stay, and some way that you make money. I call that the holy trinity of adulthood. It's nothing revolutionary by any means. I just kind of think that's the basics. So I said all that to say this. You shouldn't be dating until you at least have transportation, in my opinion. Let's keep it moving.
Like, still building up my life out here.
Shouldn't be
Regardless,
dating.
I expect my date to either pick me up or Uber me to the date. That is just my standard. The first date, he was a perfect gentleman. He picked me up and everything. He calls me today for a second date. He wants to go golfing. I said, great. What time are you picking me up? He's like, well, it's out of the way to pick you up. I just recommend you Uber to me and then we can go on our date.
Okay, sounds reasonable.
And then I wasn't sure if he meant me Uber myself or him Uber me. So
he meant you Uber yourself, you goddamn adult.
I hung up and I texted him. I was like, hey, I'm excited for Saturday, but just to clarify. He calls me up and he's like, can you clarify your text message? And I said, I was wondering what you meant by the Uber. Were you going to call me an Uber or did you want me to call an Uber for myself?
She seriously called this dude for clarification?
And he said, I recommend you call an Uber for yourself.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, well, you know, since this is a date, I prefer you to Uber me or you can pick me up. And he's like, oh, well, I think you could just do it yourself. And my thing is, yes, I can do it myself, but you're asking me on a date. I expect to be taken care of. Pick me up or call me an Uber. The notion that it's too far or too out of the way for the date, it's an inconvenience for me because now I have to pay for part of this date. I have a problem with that.
Hold the fuck up. Did you guys hear what she just said? She just stated that the gentleman said he didn't want to inconvenience himself by driving all the way back to pick her up and bring her to the date. So he suggested she just Uber herself. Her retort to that is her having to pay is an inconvenience and she shouldn't be inconvenienced.
And when I think about it, you guys, like some women, my sister, for example, she won't even pay for an ice cream at the end of the date. And she's been dating her guy for a couple years now, but even the first few months of their dating, she refused to pay for anything. She didn't pay for anything. He was like, can't you just pay for an ice cream after dinner? And she's like, no. And guess what? She moves in with this man. They've been together for 3 years, about to get married. He picked that girl.
But first of all, she only knows what her sister is telling her. What her sister is telling her could be all cap. That's first of all. And second of all, you are not your sister. People need to stop comparing themselves to other people's relationships. People only show you what they want to show you. You don't know how the inner dynamics of their relationship works in any capacity whatsoever. You just see what they show the outside.
He didn't pick the girl that was like trying to be nice and pay for her own Uber and pay for her own meal. No, he picked the girl that refused to pay for shit, refused to pay for anything for his ass, and he is in love. He's about to put a ring on it. He pays all the bills. They live together. He pays for everything. And yet, when they first started dating, he tried to play her. He was like, oh, can you just pay for this? No, I'm not paying for anything. Take it or leave it. He took it. So if he wanted to, ladies, he would. Okay, keep your standards high. That's all I gotta say.
All right, thank goodness we got her off the screen. A couple. Look, let's go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room. That I personally am not an individual that talks about people's looks. I usually don't do that myself, but
UGLY, you ain't got no alibi, you ugly.
You ain't got no alibi. One thing in the video that she specifically said that I wanted to address. She said this.
And yet, when they first started dating, he tried to play her. He was like, "Oh, can you just pay for this?" No, I'm not paying for anything.
If you think that a man simply asking you to pay for something, not the entire date, not every single date, you know, to tip a waitress or buy a pack of gum or even put some gas in the car. If you think that's an absurd request, then you're more than likely a selfish person, which is fine. Just keep your selfish ass to yourself, man. Relationships are about reciprocity. If you're only willing to take and not willing to give, that's 100% fine and legal. Just stay alone. All I'm saying. I'll tell you what Theo Coop feels about it. You can feel however you feel about it. I think if a man asks a woman out, a man should pay for the first date. It's really not that big of a deal to me. Now, don't be an idiot. Don't be out here like some of these young boys meeting a girl trying to impress her and you taking her to a $600 steakhouse and you don't even know her last name. You deserve what you get for that, man. I mean, we all been young at one point, but you got to have a little common sense. I would just say this, if there happen to be any younger guys watching, my little piece of advice would be, if you go out with a woman for at least 3 dates and she doesn't at least offer, keyword offer, not saying she has to pay, but if she doesn't at least offer to pay for anything during those 3 dates, it would not be a fork. But you guys let me know what you think. Maybe I got it wrong. Theo Coop, after party in the comments. Do better.